So now we're going to continue looking at, of course, roots. And we're saying nth root in a lot of these videos because it's now not just square roots or cube roots. It's whatever root they're asking us to take. And they'll show us that in the little expression here, showing us the number there that we're taking the root of. So the nth, when taking the nth root of a fraction, so that's specifically what we're going to look at right here, we take the root of the numerator and then the denominator. So we kind of do them separately, and then, put them back together. Unless specifically instructed to give decimal answers, I would not divide 1 by 256 and then take the fourth root of that, because you're going to end up with, some kind of weird fraction there. So just take them separately. So the fourth root of 1, any root of 1, it doesn't matter what it is going to be 1, because you can multiply 1 as many times as you want by itself, and it's still going to be 1. So whenever you take any root of 1, it's 1. The fourth root of 256, remember, we want to break that down into its prime factors. So with this one, I didn't go all the way down to its prime factors because I could tell that it was 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, which I have a group of 4 there, and I can take 1 out because that's the fourth root. And if you didn't see that right away and you did 2's, because you could say it divides by 2, you'd end up with 8 2's, which is 2 groups of 4, right? And I'd have 2 times 2, which would bring me back to 4. Okay, so either way, I would end up with a root of 4. You can also use a calculator on this one. I know I've showed this one in previous videos where you can type in 256, and then you use the square root button. It looks just like this square root feature, but it's going to have an X underneath and a Y here. And then you have to tell it what root you're taking. So once you type in 256 and you hit that root button with the Y there instead of a number, then you have to tell it, now I want the fourth root of that number, and hit equals. And it'll show you that it's a 4. So the fourth root of 1 over 256 is 1/4. All right. So let's go ahead and look at another one of these. So we can also add and subtract radicals. So to add and subtract square roots, first the expression must be simplified because we almost kind of treat them like variables. And then if they have like radicals, they can be added. The coefficients can be added or subtracted. So unsimplified terms with the same square roots or radical can be combined like terms. So kind of like what I was just saying. So we treat them a little bit like variables in that aspect, where, if I had 2x plus 4x, I could say, oh, well, that's 6x. Well, I can do the same thing with a radical, but they have to be the same radical in order to add or subtract. So we're going to break down 45. So 45, we did this earlier. It was 9 times 5, remember? And this might have been on a previous video, so I say earlier, but it could very well be broken into another video. So the square root of 9 is 3, and 5 doesn't have a square root, not a whole square root, so we just leave it under the square root sign. And then we're going to do the same thing with 20 here. So I'm going to break 20. Well, 20 breaks into 4 and 5, and the square root of 4 is 2, and then we're going to leave 5 there. Well, now we can see that they both have the same square root. So keep in mind also on this one, I do have to multiply 2 by the 2 because there's already a 2 out in front of that square root 20. And the square root of 20 is 2 times the square root of 5. So now I have to combine the 2's. So I end up with 4 root 5. So now I have 3 root 5 plus 4 root 5. And I can go 3 plus 4 is 7 root 5. So I don't increase 5 plus 5. I treat it just like I would a variable. I'd say, 3x plus 4x, and I'd have 7x. Same thing, it's just with a root on it this time. So that's some of the basic functions with square roots. I hope that helped, and I will see you on the next video.